3, 2, we are live.
Farts. Old farts. Two old farts. Steve and Dave. Sometimes you find a diamond in the rough. Not this time, though. This is just rough. Two old farts. There is no better waste of time. Two guys. Two old guys. A lot of BS and more drivel than you can shake a stick at. Steve and Dave. God help us.
Hey, God help us. You know, that's the first time I've actually watched the video. You look cute in your little hat. It's very cute. You don't see a lot of guys wear a hat like that, ever.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a strange thing about the photograph with the hat, right?
Yes.
Is that when we're in Portugal, I think it was something we'd been out most of the day, it'd been like 20 degrees, and in the evening, of course, because it was December, the temperature dropped, and we're on our way home, and then it said, "Oh, we'll go and have a look on this beach and everything." So we went out and look on the beach, and she just bought this hat in a shop because it's all priced down for because it's December or whatever, I don't know, and she literally just plonked it on my head and took a photograph of it. So I thought, well, hey, that's just...
Well,
that's
you,
just
my friend, you look like $1,000,000 pesos in that hat. So that's very, it's a very nice hat.
I thought million Polish zlotys. Yeah.
There you go, 1,000,000 Turkish lira. 650.
I'm also 2OFing it today. Look.
Wow, look at you. And look at me. I'm wearing the creator today.
Yeah.
And so there you go.
As you should.
All as I should. All available in our merch store. Well, today we have a very special guest on 2OF Classics.
Okay.
She used to be a man. No. So it is the girl. Her name is Linh Do, and Lynn does the Scotch reviews on our channel. And she works for, and I have to, I want to say this correct, and she works for the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, which I am a member of, and I learned the secret handshake. It's a weird secret handshake, a lot of funny motions and stuff, but we won't discuss that. But she is my consigliere.
Do you know what was really strange, Steve, that you actually turned around and spoke to yourself?
Can I tell you, I do that. I constantly turn around and speak to myself because I'm the only one that gives me the answers I want to hear. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, but when you look back on this, you'll find that you're talking to
yourself. I'm like, yes, it's over here. Yes, I know, right? So, but yes, so she's going to.
As far as I know, is she the lady that's got these really amazing whiskey things, whiskey reviews, which are going.
Whoa! Let's not discuss her whiskey things. I think that's a little private. Yes, she is the one. I can't pronounce the name of her show because it's in Vietnamese, but it's Rouo. She'll tell us how to pronounce it. But she does a whiskey review every Friday, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. That goes out global. Yeah, people like it, and she knows her stuff. And we're going to bring her in one second because she hates flattery. But I like the way she does her whiskey reviews because she talks it in the way of music and poetry and books, not the typical. It came from a barrel. It tastes like this. It's really good. So I like the way she does it. And for me, it helps me learn. And in fact, after the show, I've learned so much. I'm going to go have several scotches and cigars while I work diligently because that's what you do on a day that we record.
Yeah, it's 8
o'clock in the morning.
Life, Stephen. It's a hard
Can I tell you something's hard? That's all I can tell you. Okay, so we bring her in.
Yeah.
We should. Let's add her to this. There she is. There's Miss Lynn. Hello.
Hi, Lynn. First of all, Lynn, congratulations, because like the first show you put up went bang.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for everybody to sort of, wait for the rest and great. Really excited for you.
All right, thank you.
Hey, that's me finished. I'll shut up now.
And that's the show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. No. So today we're not going to really talk about, even though Lynn has on her desk, if I do the wide shot, because I will do that for her. She's got her scotch. That's that's her pacifier. But she's like, oh, I gotta drink something. I have my scotch behind me. That's why I have the facade up today because there's just too much. But we're going to talk about Lynn, not the scotch connoisseur, but Lynn, the artist and the fashion designer. So people get to know her a little more. So when they watch her, they'll realize that she is a multifaceted woman, not just the inflatable kind that we talk about on No Snobs or Knobs. So we figure this is much better than the AI girlfriends that we all now apparently are getting. So there you go. So we're going to actually ask, like, we're going to treat Lynn like a person.
To actually
thank you.
have a woman on the show, it would seem, as opposed to just the normal AI stuff that we have.
The inflatable woman that we keep talking about, yes, or the AI woman that we've had. Yes, we've had Emily Pellegrino, who's an AI woman. We've had a 3-foot inflatable woman, and we've had the AI girlfriend. So yes, I think now we have a real woman, and we're very excited about that. I'm not sure about the girls from Social Intercourse. They may not be real. I've never met them.
Well, they're all small because they all appear to fit into these small windows.
Yeah,
it might just be me. It might just be me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's something to be said for a small woman.
Yeah.
So, Miss Lynn, first of all, how do we pronounce the name of your show? Yes, contraceptive. Yes. How do we pronounce the name of your Scotch show?
It's pronounced Rouo, but
Rouo?
I think Americans can just say Rouo.
Rouo.
Rouo, yeah.
Rouo.
It's like who for dyslexics then? Rouo.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But tell us now, tell us your story as much as you want. I mean, we already have the file in front of us and the cameras are in the house. But tell us your story of like how you got started, because you've told me, and it's fascinating, how you got from where you went to how you got involved in Scotch and whiskey, if you will. And then you did internships in Scotland, and you've done fashion, which is gorgeous. You've done artwork, which is gorgeous. So tell all your new fans all about you, if you'd like.
Sure. Yeah. So a little over a decade ago, I was a social worker for people with disabilities. And I woke up one morning and my first thought was I should use whiskey as a muse to write poetry. And I thought, this is strange. I've never really had alcohol before. And so I went to the bar, and this bartender by the name of Ricky Yarnall started talking about the different regions of Scotch. And I thought, wow, you can really geek out on this, and you can approach this from a pedagogical point of view. And let me know if I'm speaking too softly, because I have a habit of doing that too.
Oh, no, you're good. We're good. Not to worry.
It's very charming. We're all melting away.
Yeah, it is.
And so it reminded me of 20th century literature, which I mentioned in the other interview. And I just love that tension and elasticity between the hard and soft and how they merge together. I think in essence, that sort of philosophy or concept is very much the human condition and how we have multiple facets and sides to ourselves when we're exposed to different people in different situations. And after studying whiskey for a year, which is just a euphemism for saying that I tried a lot of whiskeys, I quit.
So you became an alcoholic, right? We understand. Good. So
trainee alcoholic, Stephen, I think.
You're a trainee. I'm sorry. You became a trainee alcoholic. Yes, go ahead.
And then I backpacked to Scotland by myself and made it out to Orkney Islands and to Islay. And this was just sort of the time period where I didn't have very kind friends. They were just like, you're too dumb. You're not smart. You can't do this. And I thought, I don't think I have really nice friends, and maybe I should try to invest in some time for myself and do something nice for myself. And so then that was it. I made it back to the States, and I worked in liquor shops to get my foot in the industry. And then I was an alcohol specialist at High Time Wine Cellars on the West Coast. And I wanted to make sure I wanted to work in the number one market for the on-premise and off-premise market for whiskey, which just means that on-premise is you can serve alcohol to people, and off-premise means you can't serve alcohol to people. So, gotcha. Yeah. And then I would go to like these whiskey tastings, and there would be brand ambassadors talking about things, but I can't remember anything because I'm a tactile learner. So I took notes, and then I started to take notes, and then I didn't remember where the words were. Not because I was drunk, Steve. It was just because.
So we won't tell them about the Disney. We won't tell them about the Walt Disney story yesterday. She had to be escorted out of Disneyland in Irvine, California. Something with Mickey. I've seen the video. Go ahead. So
yeah, And so I started drawing different distilleries in the pages of the books just so I could remember where the notes were. And then that's how I got
Right.
into art. And so,
Very cool. Cool.
yeah.
Well, since you talked about that, and I know David, let's cue up some of your art if we may, because your
Yeah.
art is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
So this way you can kind of talk about the distillery and the art at the same time. And by the way, her, meaning Lynn, her links will be below. So if you want to purchase anything, you go to her website and you can purchase some of her art, which is very limited. I know there's only a few pieces left of some of this stuff. So
You're such a
And
good
how I've put together the presentation, sorry, Lynn, how I put together the presentation today is the first 5 slides are of your artwork, and the last 5 slides are of your clothing and fashion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So,
all right. So this is what now? Tell us about this painting or this etching.
This is Talisker, and it's located in Isle of Skye. Typically, I usually do black and white drawings, but I had some people who wanted me to add some color and accents to the drawings. And so it's a combination of pen and ink work and some acrylic paint and color pencils. So I like to capture
what's the subject matter then, Lynn? This is a brewery, I'll take it, but
it's a
distillery. How dare you, sir? A brewery. What do you think? This is some cheap beer? Some Amsterdam swill? This is a distillery, sir. This is Scotch whiskey. How dare you? To throw that in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. I feel chastised. So as my chastisement passes, so this is a distillery,
right?
Any particular place in Scotland, or can you give us a little bit of background information as to where it is?
It's located in Isle of Skye, and I just particularly love Talisker, and well, I love all Scotches really, but I just love the landscape and just the broodiness of how it has these gray overtones. And sometimes it reminds me of James Bond's Skyfall. He's just driving up to the Highlands in Scotland and he's ready to kick some ass. So that's how I view Scotland. Is like it's in some ways an industrious country, but like a very I just feel like they offer so much to the world, and it's beyond the whiskey. The landscape is very beautiful. They provide a lot of materials to clothing like Chanel and to Burberry, to Louis Vuitton, and I don't think people are really aware of that. And my friends told me from Scotland that it's a big oil industry over there too. So
yeah,
in
the north, the North Sea oil comes into Scotland via Aberdeen and Inverness, up that area. So a lot of oil work.
Let me ask you this: if somebody now, this is an etching, I'm assuming, or it's a pen work, correct? It's basically a drawing, for lack of a better term. Okay, so if somebody wants the original, do you do originals, or this is just a 1 of 25 type of piece?
That one is 1 of 25, depending on the dimensions. I could have like 1 of 50. I do have some originals. Yes.
Okay. Very cool. All right.
Right.
Very nice. This is beautiful. So if you're into Scotch and you like this, I'm making a list of what I need to purchase after the show, so we're good. So there you go. Very nice. Look at David. David knows how to use buttons. Look, my hands never left my body. Okay. Let us show the next Talisker. I've had that Scotch, by the way. It's very good.
Oh, awesome. So, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is the Japanese people. Yeah. We're going to go hit Carry later. I like it.
Yeah.
Now, forgive me if I'm a bit confused, but this doesn't look very Scottish to me.
Yes. So a lot of the distilleries in Scotland has these, we call them pagoda-like rooftops, but they're actually called cupolas, and it was created by Francis Doyle. Historically, back in the day when a lot of distilleries had malting floors, they had that rooftop to kind of keep things aerating with the barley and that sort of thing. Now there's I want to say only 6 distilleries that still have a malting floor. So you see a totally different design in Japan. But they are historically, with Japanese whiskey, they're heavily influenced by the Scotch industry, just because you have two of the forefathers. Well, one of which was Masataka Takatsuru, who went over to Scotland and
Bless
did
you.
internships. He did internships in Scotland, and so he brought those techniques over to Japan. And of course, Shinjori Tori, who owned Yamazaki, hired him to be the first master distiller for his company. So you definitely see a lot of influence for the in terms of flavor, but as far as the architect, I don't know much about who designed this, but I just love like a lot of details with brickwork and line work. To me, when I'm creating these line work, it kind of reminds me of studying classical piano. And so when I was younger, I studied Chopin and Rachmaninoff. And so there's these technically driven pieces where you just look and you're not improvising at all. And it's just very straightforward. And so as an intense person, Steve knows, I really like small line work in my distillery drawings.
And of course,
very pretty.
The Scottish were one of the first Europeans to be welcomed into Japan, so they have a long history with the Japanese. They didn't seem to like the Brits very much, or the Dutch.
Well, who does really? Nobody likes it.
But they liked the Scots. So
Sure, they got them drunk. What did the Brits bring you? Nothing. Brits bring you nothing.
Yeah.
They do nothing for you. You've got a
Tea.
king and a queen. Well, now apparently you have a queen. You got nothing
Tea.
going on. In fact, I had a gay, tea shmee. But I had a gay cousin. He went over to London looking for Big Ben. He was very disappointed when he found out it was a clock. But anyway, go ahead. So let's see what else. What else do we have here?
It's actually a bell, but there you go. There's another
Right.
story then. Yeah.
But she doesn't have a picture of it.
Oh, okay, right.
We have to stick on the Scottish. We have to stick what we have paint pictures of. So let's stick with the pictures.
I'm sorry. We went off on a tangent there. So let's.
There you go, like usual. Our usual tangent. And this one is?
It's actually from this is American brand Woodford. It's owned by Brown Forman, and they make like Jack Daniels. They acquired some Scottish distilleries a few years ago. So, but.
And this is in the US then, or is this also?
Yeah, this image, this is in Kentucky. So they make Woodford Reserve bourbon, for example.
Just like to remind Stephen of how much of the English architecture you can see there, but that's another story.
Yeah, I love sport.
Yeah. C'est la vie.
No, it's very pretty. I would not listen. You guys brought good things to the world. I'll think of something, but you did. I know, so it's great.
Yeah.
So
well,
you brought that Church of England thing going on.
But I mean that's obvious, of course. But Donald Trump, of course, we gave you him. Well, the Scots did.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's why I drink a lot. So.
Well, you won't be the only one this year in the US drinking a lot, I think. But
I don't think so. Yes.
We digress
Very
again.
sorry. We digress again, but Lynn's okay with that because Lynn digresses when I speak to her about stuff. So we're always going off on tangents, but we're trying to focus on Lynn's art. Oh, this I like. I think it's got a car in it that looks like a Morgan.
Yeah. Sorry, I have this watermark. I should have looked for something without it, but I love this particular piece just because I'm a huge fan of Anthony Bourdain. And about 8 years ago, he did a series called Raw Craft Series with Balvenie. And he just picked things that people who he were really excited to and passionate to talk about, whether it was like a blacksmith, somebody who made guitars. And he visited the Morgan plant. And it was really fascinating to see how people were building these cars out of wood. And I just like the impractical side of things. Hence, this is why I'm an artist and I don't have a 401k, nor do I really know. And so, but I'll get there one day soon. But I just thought, wow, this is so beautiful. Like a car that there's just so much work put into it. And people were saying that how they dream about working at the Morgan since little kids. And there's like like apprenticeship, and they have a lot of pride in their work. And so just linking Bourdain with cars, and not that I'm promoting drinking and driving, but I just love how
That's right.
whiskeys and cars can be seen as art. And there's a beautiful merge of like understanding the science and the art of it and just merging them together. And going back to that concept of 20th century literature where you're blurring those binary juxtapositions is really fascinating to me.
Where drinking and driving, by the way, in 20th century literature was encouraged. So kids, if you're listening, we don't encourage drinking and driving. We encourage you to pull over to the side of the road, drink properly, and then you keep going. No, I'm just kidding. No drinking and driving. Use Uber. Don't get yourself in an accident. We would hate for that to happen. So there you go. But Morgan, yes, Morgan is a beautiful car. It's all handmade, and they're relatively inexpensive for the cars they make. They're about anywhere from about 100 to 150,000, if you will, US. I have a buddy who has one, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And they're very small. It's like the old MG. So when you drive in today's world with all the big cars and trucks, you feel like you're in like a Matchbox. But it's very well put together, very cool. And if you get one custom made for you, they make it to your size. It's kind of like a Bugatti. If you buy a Bugatti will actually measure you, and they make the car to your size. So it's really your car.
Do they make like divots for your butt cheeks too?
I'm friendly with them. I'm not that friendly. So I don't know. I try to stay away from people's butt cheeks.
Obviously, there's a special department in these custom-made car factories where they do divots for butt cheeks. And that's my job title.
So now the Morgan people are going to see this, and they are going to call us and go, "We don't do divots for butt cheeks. There is no special department." But then we're going to tell everybody, listen, when you go there, you find room 27A and B. 27A. That's the butt cheek room.
Yeah, that's the guy sitting on the left as you go in the door. He's the butt cheek. He's the butt cheek divot. He's
the butt cheek guy. Yeah. There you go.
How many of you driven in a Morgan or like the Morgan three-wheeler?
I've driven the Morgan three-wheeler, and I've driven the Morgan that you showed right there in the picture.
Wow.
Not the three-wheeler for me, but I have driven the Morgan. Yeah.
Wow.
You can actually hear.
We're not Neanderthals.
You can actually hear the creak when you get in it. So.
No, I love hearing stories about the experiences that you have in life because you're such go-getters. And for me,
she was going to say old farts.
I just the guys are like near death. You got one from the banana peel and one in the grave. Yeah, I got that. So
because I have that California energy where my favorite expression is "I'll do it tomorrow." So then when I hear Steve, he said, "Oh, you got to go do stuff," and I think
immediately. You got it. It's like this. You got to hustle, bustle. You wake up in the morning with a purpose.
I get stressed out a little bit. I'm in that 4/4 time adagio andante, which means
listen. The perfect example of California is when you go to a New York ballpark. It's like get your hot dogs, your peanuts, your beer, like that. Like boom, 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 throw done. When you're in California, like go to a Dodgers game, it's like, would you like an avocado? No. See, it's a different mentality here. Yeah. We're Northeasters. We want to kick ass 24/7. When I lived in LA, it was like, are you kidding me? You people drive like you sleep. And it's like everyone's like in their own little world. I mean, it's unbelievable. So you have to if you're from the Northeast and you go to LA, you can rule that place. Yeah. So because everyone there is just like they're so passive aggressive, which is the worst, and they're just passive in general. Mm-hmm. I'm like kicking the door.
Say about Californians. The Californians are so laid back, it's one of their asses don't fall off. Is that what it is?
You know what they also say about Californians? If you like, you know what the first thing a starlet does in the morning? She goes home. Anyway, so I'm just trying to help out. Right? Should we look at more of Lynn's art? Because I got jokes for days, kids.
I love it. I love it.
I'm worried about the jokes for days. That's the thing that concerns me most.
All right, let's take a look at this beautiful piece of work. This is gorgeous. Now, what distillery is this?
This is Glengoyne. And now that I say it out loud, I want to say something funny. But
it's Glengoyne. It hurts when I do this. Go ahead.
But it means Valley of the Geese in Gaelic. And so
Valley of the Geese. That's why there's geese? Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So they're on the
which is slightly
borderline.
different to the Valley of the Dolls, but we're getting there.
Oh, I remember that. I had some dolls once. They were lovely. Anyway, go ahead. So,
But they're unique in the sense that they're on one side, the distillery is located in Speyside, if I remember correctly, and the parking lot
right.
across the way with where the barrels are aged, it's in the lowlands. So it's just on the
Wow.
border for the regions. Um, so I
That's
just wanted
gorgeous. That's very pretty.
to show you different designs.
Yeah.
I sent a
Very
lot,
cool.
so I don't know if they'll start looking all the same.
No,
No,
everyone's
no,
different. Well, the one from the Japanese one certainly looked a little different. It was like, oh, so that's much different than the one. And then your one from
but
Tennessee, of course, when
See,
the
that's
husband and
an
wife are
Asian.
brother and sister. So yeah.
but we've unfortunately finished the art because we know that about 10 slides is probably what we're going to get in the show. So rather than disappoint everybody to do 15 and they can't see the rest, we just say, okay, 10's about right.
Yep.
So we're moving on now from art to something.
To fashion.
And as the Pythons people would say, now for something completely different.
Ooh. Oh, this is
Okay.
Lynn, I think.
I just want to say I hate this picture.
Okay, well, let's
well,
get this one up.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no,
There you
it's
go.
just
Next.
because I remember.
Is that why you sent it to me, Lynn? Is that why you sent it? Because you hate it?
Well, it was just because back in the day I had this old Instagram account that had a lot of followers because I was writing a lot of whiskey reviews. And my friend
Right.
said, you can get more followers if you just like try to tap into your womanhood. And
Take
I
your
said,
clothes off, in other words.
I'm not in, what's that?
So you just take your clothes off, so you get a lot more views. That's what your friends were trying to tell you.
So I'm more comfortable doing goofy pictures. And then when a whiskey advocate interviewed me and I said, okay, well, I guess I need to like learn how to pose like most women do. And this is what I did, but I feel like it doesn't represent who I am.
Lynn, let me just say this. I don't know any women that pose like this, just so we're clear. So
Oh,
I
really?
think, yeah, I don't,
Well,
there's not too
well,
many women that stand there like, and they're like, hello, I have a bottle in one hand. And it's like, and I mean this as a compliment, it's a very pretty picture. But this
Oh,
reminds me of a 1930s kind of movie where it's like, I'm waiting for my man to come take me. That's what this looks like. It's just he's going to burst through
but
the door any moment with the reef and just take me, and I'm going to pour him a scotch while he takes me.
yeah,
That's what I'm looking at here.
going to take her roughly from behind, I think. But
Or you could,
the burning question is here: are you holding on to the bottle because you're going to fall over, or is the bottle going to fall over first? That's
a little bit of both.
a
This
little bit of both.
this dress
I
is
must admit, though, Steve, I do. It has a 30s element to it.
it does. It's very
It's
pretty. I mean, I like it.
is it?
And Lynn did this. She sent me the article, and this is one of the pictures that was of her in the article,
Yeah.
with a couple other pictures. So it's a very nice picture. I mean, for the article and whatnot, and it's a beautiful outfit. And Lynn made this, if I'm not mistaken.
yes. So
Yeah.
this is my interpretation of Kilchoman. So with my black and white distillery drawings, I compare it to classical music because there's no improvisation. With the clothing, it becomes a little bit more like jazz improvisation, where I'm self-taught. I self-taught how to draw and sew, so I just go completely by intuition. Where when I construct clothing, it's just very organic, and I just kind of
Okay.
never have an idea of what I'm trying to make, but then they just slowly form one at a time. And so, Kilchoman is a small distillery in Scotland, and it's run by Anthony Wills. And Stephen, I think you'd appreciate the backstory behind the Wills because they like own, I think, cigar leaves. They have like they're producers of cigar leaves or cigars, something
Okay.
like that. But they come from like old money. So
I like old money. Old money smells much different than the nouveau riche money.
and so Anthony, or the correct pronunciation here, I'm going to do a little Gwyneth Paltrow. Anthony Wills just loved Ardbeg, and he wanted to create his own distillery, so he started one in 2005. He has 3 sons, and the youngest one is just really funny, and he's hilarious. The oldest one, of course, is just very like, I got to stay within the lines and be quite proper. and the
Right.
middle one too. So I just kind of wanted to celebrate the distillery and like them as individuals, where they're fun and just very, um,
Yeah.
just produce awesome whiskey. So I kind of wanted to create like a cocktail like dress. And
Very cool.
ironically, I don't go to parties uh, at all, really, unless I'm bartending and working. But it was just kind of to celebrate the fun side of whiskeys, because I think sometimes people can be very, very serious about it. They're like, oh, this is like one note of 40 bottles, and has like some unicorn tears in it, and it's like $30,000. And I kind of want to lighten up the mood of
Yeah.
whiskeys with this dress.
Well,
No, this
I
is
think we
very, like
should
I
give.
said,
I
very
think we
pretty.
should give this a public health warning. First of all, don't go to Scotland dressed like this because it's cold, and and secondly, you're probably going to get a lot of unwanted friends.
Just
But
so you know,
anyway, that's good.
I own this dress now, and I was going to go to Scotland next month in this dress.
Yeah,
So now that you've
yeah,
said that, my whole trip, I thank you for ruining it. I'm just letting you know.
yeah. Well,
So
there you go. You know, it needed a warning. It's cold in
I
Scotland.
appreciate that. Sure.
It'll you know.
And
So
what is
I
our
was
next
surprised.
picture of Glen Scotland?
Having to live
well,
there on a side note for like two
Yeah.
months or 3 months, I thought I was gonna die, but I acclimated to the weather quite a bit.
yeah.
So,
You have to keep your parts warm in Scotland.
hmm
That's the key to it.
You have to keep your parts warm in Scotland. Wow. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm just talking to a sage today. So, okay. And this
Well,
looks like you got a little Morgan on the bottom. This looks like a little kid's outfit. It's very cute.
yeah, it's a little uh coat, which actually reminds me when I wore something like this once. My sister took a photo of me and she said, "Why do you look like a concubine?" And then she walked away. And then that's when I
Nice.
realized
It's
I
good
should
then.
all right.
I should
That's
put
a
on.
that's a great name for a children's line of clothing.
Concubine, yes. What's your children's line called? Concubine. Oh, let's dress all the kids like this. So
So I
Yeah.
thought,
this is very pretty. For concubine, it's very pretty apparently. So there you go. No, I like it. It's
And
gorgeous.
the next collection will be the Lolita line. And we'll
Yeah,
have that.
Lita, the concubine, yeah. The cortisone will come as a third
Yeah,
collection. So
yeah. We're there. We're there.
yeah.
All right.
So
So tell us more
But
about this before we go off on more tangents.
yeah.
yeah.
So again,
But
celebrating
sorry,
the
Lee, can I just ask you? I mean, I'm trying. When I looked at it this morning, I was trying to get some sense of size to it. Is it a female dress, or is it meant for
yes,
children?
yeah, it's for me.
Oh, it's for you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And of course you're petite, so it's okay. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
All right.
so this is kind of like a coat. It's wool,
Okay.
and the sleeves it's plaid, and obviously you see the Morgan there because it's celebrating Bourdain and the Raw
Okay.
Craft series. So there's on the pockets you'll see like forks and spoons and what have not, but that's kind of an homage to Elizabeth uh, Brim, who was one of the woman he interviewed, and she's a blacksmith. So I love learning from different people and what inspires them to create things. I wanted to celebrate little elements of the different series that I liked seeing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So
That's very
this
nice.
I thought was amazing. Can we have
Yeah.
a
So
close up on
this
that, Steve? Because that
Uh,
this took
just
about,
wow.
I think, hand stitching it takes anywhere from 80 hours to or more.
Wow.
I could use a machine, but I think I was just drawn to wasting time, perhaps. But but I
you do well on this
people
channel.
sometimes
Mhm.
I wonder if people think, well, what's the point of Formula One, right? Why all this
Right.
money? But I think there's something about the beauty of Formula One and art. And with Formula One, it's pushing the human um, discipline and pushing him to its limits, and also engineering. And without Formula One, the ABS braking would not exist. So it just trickles down to the mainstream market, and that's what I love about Formula One. And when it comes to art, there's nothing practical about it at all,
Mhm.
just like Formula One. But I like
Yeah.
how
Are you turning into the ultimate woman now? Because I mean, Formula One, whiskey, fashion, talented artist.
Concubine. I mean, there you go.
I mean,
There you have it.
but I'm just saying, guys, put your comments below. You know, get in
It's
the
so
queue,
funny.
get in the queue for this lady because wow, you know,
And
she's ticked a lot of boxes.
this is really sad because I don't enjoy like going shopping for shoes or purses, and I think like getting my nails done or like getting a pedicure is like torturous. I don't find joy in that, but I love like documentaries about like sports documentaries or anything about learning
Okay.
something new. But just I think I'm a little bit sentimental where I still do handwritten letters and wax seals, and so the hand
That's
stitching.
true. I
Yes,
have gotten a handwritten letter from Lynn and a wax seal, which is very nice. So really what Lynn's saying, so if you live at home in the basement of your parents and you have pimples all over your face, you are the perfect mate for her. Reach us here at the 2 Off Entertainment. We will arrange your date and you can thank us later. So there you go. Make sure your mom and dad say it's okay. Please be over 18 years old. The rules of the competition will be left on the bottom of the screen. This is actually very pretty. This is very nice. Do we have anything else? Do we have any
Oh
other
yeah,
pictures, or
just
was
real
this
quick.
it?
That
Go,
one was like the image of a Balvenie 17-year
go back one.
barrel. So
Yeah.
that
I
was
was gonna say, yeah.
so that's the direct design when they had the single barrel 17-year, I believe, sherry cask,
Right.
and I just love like just how it was laid out like an architect building, but instead they had barrels in the breakdown of what each part
And
meant.
you hand stitched all this.
Yes. Hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You should be selling this stuff for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't why people. Hopefully, people will be banging down your door, your website. But this stuff is absolutely gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
this stuff isn't made. People don't make things like this anymore. It's beautiful, and especially
And
since
And
it's
is it?
hand stitched.
yeah.
And it's not made to be worn. This, you know, this is a piece of art, a collectible piece of clothing, and
Thank you.
it should be treated as such.
It
And
should be.
then
Yeah,
this
it should. It should be in a museum.
the strap part where it says free warehouse, it says duty
Right.
free warehouse in the back, and that's
Right.
just one of the handles you see when you go to the distillery, and that's where they block the door from opening, and
Right.
that's where you enter the warehouse for all those
Right.
barrels, whiskey barrel.
Sure, because people got to make duty. I got it. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Go to the next one. Oh, this is. I love these guys. I've got a bottle behind me of the Harmony from
Yeah.
Toro.
Yeah, so this is just a close shot of of a belt that I made for my jumpsuit, and it's
Okay.
inspired by origami. So there's this origami person by the name of Robert Ling, who, if I remember correctly, he has like a background in science and math or something like that, but he left to study this. But he really understands music theory, and obviously with math, and it's quite interesting when people study origami. They know the designs and the design pattern. So when you look at a DNA, for example, and if there's one part that's off, that's how they catch diseases and they learn how to cure it.
Wow.
So like a stent, for example, when it travels through the artery, it collapses and it opens and it's able to do that through origami design. So I got on that and trying to link it with Hibiki, because if you notice the ridges of the bottle, it's, oh my gosh, my memory's rusty, but it's anywhere from, I think it's 22 ridges, I believe.
Okay.
I could totally be wrong, but the ridges on the bottle represents the old Japanese moon calendar or something like that. So it has like, it represents the different seasons of
Okay.
and so then I thought, oh, it kind of reminds me of pleats on clothing. How do I go from there? And so I cut these little square in my fabric, and I would try to fold them to make it look like origami.
That's very cool. I just went and checked my bottle. You're right. It has the ridges, and I never noticed the ridges before because ruffles have ridges, and I don't pay attention. But I like what this is beautiful. No, you're like I said when you showed me this. All your stuff is gorgeous. So why people aren't banging on your door for you to make paintings and handmade clothing for them? I just don't know. Your stuff should be in every boutique in America. Yeah.
And people
bullshit.
should be listening to your whiskey reviews because Steve and I discussed it. I don't know if we were actually live then, but just the way that you do it is just not like, oh, it tastes of this or it tastes of that, which is what you normally get or something.
Right.
When you go to a supermarket, it has a whiskey review on the shelf, doesn't it? You can read all the stuff. Oh, it's got this in it. and you're linking it to an experience. And I'm not a drinker myself, but I know that Stephen is, and he always talks about the experience that he has.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think what people would be absolutely fascinated as your reviews come, more and more reviews online. Just to have just a different thing to talk about. And the wonderful thing about your reviews, I think, is that when people do purchase the product, or if they, let's say, no, when, let's say if, because we're not promoting the selling of it, because that's not the idea of it, then you have a story. And this is what I always say to people, this is the birthday party story. When somebody asks me, oh, why did you get that bottle, or why did you get this? Then I have a story to pass on. And our whole culture is built on storytelling and passing things on. And I think that the stories add real value to the product.
Yeah.
And that's, we see that in your art as well, which is great.
Thank you.
But hey, that's just
Yeah,
me.
gorgeous.
What do I know?
No, that's true. That's why I said that your whiskey reviews are great. When I first spoke to her and she was telling me about one of the things that we got, and I was like, that sounds great. And just the way she described it, I was like, well, then we should try it. And so we try it, and everything is that's my Scotch Consigliere right there. So I mean, but it's the way she describes it, and when she says you should try this because, and she'll tell
Yeah.
me whatever music or whatever art or car, but I'm like, okay, I get it, and then it's like good. And so when she says try something or buy something, I trust her because she has my kind of taste, if you will, but explains it in a certain way, which I like. And then when I saw her artwork and her clothing, I was like, oh no, everybody needs to see this. So she can because she's not one dimensional. She's not just a Scotch chick, so to speak. She actually can do art, and she's very eloquent, and she can talk a good, about many things, even though she comes off like I don't want to, but it's like pulling teeth. But she can do that. So, but
But
yeah, you're very
I
good at what you do, my dear.
getting
So
into
no
the
more
industry.
hiding behind those bottles, and no more hiding behind the bottle.
I know.
Only on your interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I first got into the whiskey industry, I just knew like I've always been painfully shy. Like I hate parties. And then I so happen to fall in something that really forces you to be social. So I'm like, fuck. Oh, whoops. But like, how do I do this?
Okay.
And so it was
People
just
know what that means.
so
Yeah.
in the beginning, people didn't really want to talk to me at all because one, I am soft spoken by nature. Right. So that lack of confidence, I think, is not good for America, right? So you have that. And then I thought, okay, well, how I overcome that is just to study the shit out of things and understand from a technical stance. So my background is studying literature, 20th century literature in particular, and I'm under that scope. And when you're having it neat or 2 drops of water, etc., it's almost like looking at from a hermeneutics perspective, a reader's response theory. But then how do you connect with a consumer who doesn't have that background experience in literature? So then you study cars, you start studying sports, and then you make those ties together. So going back with like the clothing, for example, people will say Scotch, you only need 3 ingredients, which is water, yeast, and grain to make. Yet you can make like thousands of different styles of whiskeys. And clothing is very much the same, where you have needle, thread, and fabric. And so how you approach making pleats, box pleats, and the type of fabric, the thickness of fabric, you have to approach it differently. So it's never the same. And so there's so much variety to go to and to explore. And as far as tasting whiskeys, it was just constantly learning. And I think of taxonomy when you study Kingdom Phyla chess. Kingdom Phyla class, it gets very specific and really broad at the end. And so that's how I think about flavor and price point. So if somebody says, hey, I really like Jameson 18 year, and then I'll go down the list. Okay, Bushmills 21, similar peach bomb, a little bit sweeter. This is the price point. And then something a little bit more approachable that is like beginner friendly, Glenmorangie 10 year Scotch. And so I just have that in my catalog of studies.
Lynn, cool. I should be really careful now because you're never going to be alone at any party. People are going to be queuing up now to come and talk to you.
My sister would be otherwise.
As they should be. They should be queuing up to come and talk to you. Don't you're hiding your light under a bushel, really. And
I heard
yeah,
bush
That
and I
can,
thought something else. What was it?
he says you're hiding. See, mine's always in the gutter. You're hiding your light. Pay attention. We're speaking English now. Hiding your light under a bush is what he
Oh,
said. Not
mhm.
your bush is hiding a light. You are hiding your light under a bush, like outside of the house, a bush
yeah,
type
Yeah,
of thing. That
right.
that, that type of
which is
bush.
a biblical reference, but there you go.
Yes, for the people that believe in the Bible. If you like
Oh,
fables, it's a great read. Even though the
Yeah,
Catholic
well,
Church took out 14 books.
yeah, well,
Great. Let's talk
I
about
mean,
this one last piece of art before
oh,
we go
it's
off on a tangent.
before we go off on
oh.
a
What is
tangent.
this?
This
This
is
Yeah, we
was
have a
coat
little
at
of
bit.
my
arms of
artist in residency program, and
Okay.
I lived at Glenfiddich for 3 months, and so I made a coat, and so I got the fabric, the blue fabric from this place that is a wool mill in Johnson's of Elgin down the road. And so I hand stitched the family crest, which took 85 hours or so. And my art mate
Wow.
and I designed the plaid. So it was our interpretation of whiskey aged in an ex-bourbon cask. But during distillation process, there's like these really beautiful blue flakes that starts to
Right.
form with copper. And it's called verdigris. And so it's just tying those colors together.
Very nice.
Mhm.
No,
vertically
once again,
patina.
stuff is gorgeous. Stuff is gorgeous.
Thank you.
So any fashion company that's houses out that's watching should be contacting you right away.
Mm.
So like Scotch and soda. Well, the first time I saw Scotch and soda, I got all excited. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna go drink and have cigars," and I realized it was a clothing strike at
No,
first. But
Yes,
anyway,
it's
it's
the
like, what the
same.
hell is this crap? Scotch and soda.
yeah,
But Scotch and soda should be reaching out to you, and you should be designing stuff for Scotch and soda because it's all about Scotch and soda, right? And all that big wool and things like that. No, gorgeous stuff. And distilleries should be reaching out to you for your artwork and for your clothing designs and have one-offs. Just saying.
Thank
What do
you.
I know? I don't know nothing. So I'm just a Jew from
yeah.
New York. So don't forget, you can watch Lynn every Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern on our channel. You guys can figure it out around the world for Scotch reviews. And she'll be reviewing stuff from the Malt Whiskey Society. And if you want to join, you can join. If you don't want to join, nobody cares. But you can learn about Scotch and tasting, whatever. Well, that's,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
we're not,
I care.
we're
I
not,
need you, mother.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I got really
Lynn
aggressive.
cares.
I turned into a tiger mom. I said, I need you, mother effers, to join, so then I can keep
yeah.
my
But
jab.
I think what
That's
Stephen's
right.
trying to say is that this show is not endorsed by them,
Oh,
Right.
and
But we do
and
put all their
so
stuff at the end of the show on her reviews about if you want to join to make sure.
as a courtesy.
And if you
as a
join,
courtesy,
make sure you tell them that Lynn sent you because she gets,
Yeah.
she gets a thumbs up. And
Yeah.
then she doesn't have to keep her
And,
bush under a tree, apparently. I don't catch all that. But anyway,
Yeah.
but no, it's very good. And the nice thing is for you people that are learning about Scotch, it's a nice show because it's not going to be the typical Scotch show. It's just a nice way that she reviews it. And we can, the layman to the expert. And the guys who think they're experts don't know a thing compared to what Lynn does. So if you really want to learn about Scotch, watch her
And
every Friday on our channel.
Is the timing
Yes.
of it then? Is the timing of it then so that people can listen to it on the East Coast on their commute home? Is that why it's being
Oh
released
yeah, I'm
around that
purposely I want it in the afternoon so they can start drinking the minute they get home or when they're like going out. It's
Yeah.
8 o'clock in London. It's Saturday morning in Asia, and they drink all the time. I love those people. So we have it that people can watch her show 24/7, and that's it. And she's got it
Okay.
on the playlist in our channel. You can go see ROUO, and it's pronounced Rouo. So
Rue.
Rouo.
Okay.
So
Who
Rouo. Yeah,
knew
there
that
you
it would
have
be
it.
called Rue? Huh?
That's
Only
good.
the girl from Vietnam would know that because it's a Vietnam name that means.
Alcohol.
There you go.
Alan is cold.
What are you? All of a sudden, what are you from New York? All of a sudden, it's hey, how you doing? It's alcohol. It's a beauty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Went from the little demure Asian girl all of a sudden to it's like a chick from New York City that's like, I got you alcohol right here, boys. So there you go. Well, Luke, it's early in the morning for Lynn, and it's 9:30 in the morning here. It's time for a Scotch and cigar. So I know everyone has to have a hobby. David, always good to see you. Miss Lynn, a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. And if everybody wants to get a hold of her, all her information will be below for the Scotch Whiskey Society, as well as her artwork. So you can reach out to her for either A or B. if you would
All
like.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're
It's nice
welcome.
talking
Thank
to
you.
Nice
Take
talking
care,
with you,
everyone.
David. Take care. Take us home, David. Lynn, hang out.
Until we come back again. Thank you for listening to another 2OF Classic interview.